This is the mind-bending truth that changes everything. Avoidants don't run from people they consider ordinary or replaceable. They run from the person they secretly believe is their once-in-a-lifetime connection, their soulmate, their perfect match. You're not being avoided because you're not special enough. You're being avoided because you're too special, and that terrifies them more than anything else in the world. The too-good-to-be-true terror. In their damaged psychology, you represent everything they've ever wanted, but never believed they deserved to have. You're the person who sees past their walls, loves them through their flaws, and makes them feel understood in ways they've never experienced before. This level of perfect compatibility feels impossible, which triggers their deepest fear that it can't last. They've convinced themselves that people like you don't end up with people like them in real life. You're too emotionally intelligent, too patient, too loving, too everything they need to heal and grow. Their wounded self-worth can't accept that someone this perfect for them could actually choose them permanently. The better you are for them, the more convinced they become that you'll eventually realize you made a mistake and find someone more worthy of your incredible qualities. They'd rather run now than wait for the inevitable moment when you discover you're too good for them. The one that got away protection strategy. They're protecting you from becoming their greatest regret by making sure you become their greatest loss instead. In their twisted logic, it's better to lose you by choice than to have you leave them by choice. They're essentially writing their own heartbreak story where they're the villain rather than the victim. By running from you, they get to preserve the fantasy that you could have been perfect together if only circumstances were different. They can maintain the romantic narrative of star-crossed lovers rather than facing the messier reality of actually building a relationship with someone who challenges them to grow. You become their what-if person, the one they can think about for the rest of their lives as the perfect love they were too damaged to accept. This fantasy feels safer than the vulnerability required to find out if perfect compatibility can survive real-world relationship challenges. The specialness preservation mechanism. They believe that your specialness is so rare and precious that their brokenness will contaminate or destroy it. You represent purity, emotional health, and genuine love, everything they feel they lack. They're running to protect your light from their darkness rather than risking dimming your brilliance with their dysfunction. In their mind, loving you means potentially ruining you. They see themselves as damaged goods who will inevitably hurt, disappoint, or corrupt someone as special as you. They'd rather sacrifice their own happiness than be responsible for damaging yours through their emotional unavailability. This martyr complex allows them to feel noble about their cowardice. They're not running because they're scared. They're nobly sacrificing their happiness to protect yours. It's self-sabotage disguised as selflessness. The pedestal prison problem. They've placed you so high on a pedestal that you've become unreachable, even to them. You're no longer a human being they can have a real relationship with. You're an ideal they can worship from afar but never actually touch without feeling unworthy. Your perfection in their eyes has made you feel impossible to approach as an equal. They can't imagine what they could possibly offer someone as amazing as you, so they convince themselves that staying away is the most loving thing they can do. You've become too special to actually be with. This pedestal placement protects them from having to show up as an equal partner. As long as you're perfect and they're broken, they don't have to do the work of becoming worthy of your love. They can just admire you from a distance, while using their unworthiness as an excuse for inaction. The irreplaceable recognition panic. They know with terrifying certainty that they will never find anyone like you again. You're not just a great person. You're their person. The one whose energy matches theirs perfectly, who understands their psychology, and who could actually help them heal if they were brave enough to let you. This recognition that you're irreplaceable creates paralyzing panic because it means losing you isn't just losing a relationship. It's losing their one chance at the kind of love they've always wanted but never believed they could have. The stakes feel too high to risk screwing up. They're running because they know you're their only shot at real happiness, and they're convinced they'll inevitably ruin it through their own brokenness. Better to preserve the possibility by never fully trying than to definitely destroy it by proving they're not capable of loving someone as special as you. The future regret prevention. They're already imagining the regret they'll feel when they inevitably hurt you, disappoint you, or fail to be the partner someone as incredible as you deserves. They can see themselves looking back and wishing they'd never put you through the pain of loving someone incapable of loving you back properly. This future-focused guilt creates present-moment paralysis. They'd rather carry the regret of not trying with you than the regret of trying and failing. At least the regret of walking away feels noble, while the regret of hurting you would feel unforgivable. They're essentially pre-grieving the relationship they're not brave enough to have. They're mourning the loss of something beautiful before it has a chance to exist, because they can't handle the responsibility of potentially destroying something so precious. The specialness responsibility terror. Being loved by someone they consider special comes with the terrifying responsibility of being worthy of that love. They would have to grow, heal, and evolve to match your level of emotional maturity and availability. The transformation required feels impossible and overwhelming. Staying with you means committing to becoming the kind of person who deserves someone as amazing as you. They're running because they don't believe they have the capacity for that level of personal growth and don't want to disappoint you when they inevitably fail to evolve. The perfect match denial. The most painful truth is that they recognize you as their perfect match, which is exactly why they can't stay. Perfect matches are supposed to be fairy tales, not real life. Someone this compatible with their authentic self shouldn't exist, and definitely shouldn't want to be with them. They're running from their own happiness because it feels too good to be real. You represent the life they've always wanted but never believed they could have, and accepting it would require them to believe they deserve good things. You're not being avoided because you're not enough. You're being avoided because you're everything they've ever wanted, and that feels impossible to accept.